stars, what is good? Thank you so much for once again stopping back by. I really do hope that you're going to enjoy today's video so that you can keep coming back for more. As you can already tell by the title, today's video is a sit down video where I will basically be sharing with you guys my journal, my experience of year one, being a postgraduate student, as well as I guess a young adult who's entering the corporate world. So basically, if that sounds like something you can relate to, because maybe you're going through it, maybe, well, at some point everyone is gonna go through it. So it's one of those things where if you are not there yet, it's coming. So if you'd be interested in finding out all the challenges that I've faced, how I managed to overcome them, and generally what it's like transitioning from undergraduate to postgraduate and still trying to make a living because you got bills to pay. If that is something you'd want to watch, do watch this video to the end. Don't forget to like, to comment,
Okay,
and subscribe. So basically, I am such a planner, you guys. My top keeps going down. I'm such a planner. Like, this video is unplanned. I just woke up in the morning and I was like, okay, today my spirit says this is the video I should film. So I just wanted to be in the moment, live in the moment, speak in the moment. So everything that I'm going to be sharing with you guys is not even like planned. I'm a Capricorn through and through. Everything would be on paper, but that's not the case for this video. I am having a smoothie. This for me is breakfast because, yeah, I haven't had anything with the qualification that I was doing. My undergraduate was 3 years, and then postgraduate starts from 4 years upwards to whatever you want to get to. Initially, when I started my first year, it wasn't always a strong plan to carry on studying. But then obviously, as you go on in that particular field of study, you start to learn more about it. You start to develop character in it. You start to decide what you want to do, what you want to major in. And obviously, as you do this, you start to develop new interest. It's either they increase from what they were, or you completely develop new ones. But there's just something new that happens, right? So obviously, it led me to a decision of, this is what I want to do with my career. I want to do this, but I also want to do this. So basically, in short, I decided that, I want to act. I'll always act. That's the core, but I also want to write, but I also want to do this, this. So in all the other this, I also want to lecture one day. I want to professionally lecture performing arts. I want to have my own academy. Those are just the things that are at the top of my head right now that I know I want to do. And to do that, it requires me to study. It requires me to get to, I think, honors level. You can start lecturing at junior level, at honors level. So it got to a point where, for me, studying further became essential, and that's what I want to share with you guys. But you don't have to study further. The why in you studying further needs to be strong, because post-grad is not easy. Like, I can tell you that for sure. Like, it is not easy. It is challenging. It is different. Like, there is a shift from undergraduate to postgraduate, and I think it's a shift that we don't talk about. It's a shift that's not taught to us. I feel like you go to postgraduates with the same expectation. You go to postgraduates with the same attitude, with the same mentality, with the same drive. Like, you don't think there's a wave coming. Like, for instance, at varsity, first year, second year, okay, third year does start to get a bit hectic, but not as hectic as when you get to postgrad. So you live a life where, some people live a life where, it's balanced. School, sure. Partying, sure. Like, your social life is booming. And it's nice because Nakhona, it helps you to find character. That era of having to be in university and develop your social life is essential generally in life when you're growing up, ne? But within undergraduate years, you are able to balance it out. And then for some reason, because we are not taught, you take the same mentality and the same attitude to postgraduate, where it is not the same. And that is why your why needs to be strong, because you don't have to study for like freaking 7 years. There needs to be a reason why you want to do it. And I think that's the most essential part, because I want to lie, guys. School is hard. School is not nice. And most importantly, school is not the only way to succeed. I feel like this is another conversation that we tend to know but we shy away from. Oba, yes, school is important, but honestly, in today's modern age, new world, it is not the only way to succeed. It's not for everyone, most importantly, and that's why it shouldn't be forced upon everyone. I'm not saying that let's completely disregard school, but there's so many other ways to make it. I always say that you need to follow your heart, listen to what it is that you want to do. If it's school, then sure. If it's not, if corporate world, straight, sure. There's even digital careers now. Some people live off digital content making, and it works perfectly fine, and they succeed. As long as you are focused on where your heart and your drive is, anything can make you successful. So with that being said, your reason to study further is what will keep you going in postgraduate. Let me speak about me so that this can make more sense. Like for me, I've already told you my why, right? So I had to study further. I have to study further because the dream is to have my own academy one day. The dream is to lecture. So that requires me to go the study route. If I just wanted to be solely an actor and a writer, solely just that, believe you me, I wouldn't be studying further. It's no longer about the words. It's no longer about saying, oh, I have a master's in this, I have a doctorate in this, because it's now not that it has lost value. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not decreasing the importance of studying or the hardship or the value it has, but I'm just saying that it's not the only way to study. So it's not the only way to succeed. So it's not like before, whereas you are you don't amount to nothing. It's no longer like that. So you don't have to do it if the why is not there. You don't have to do it because your parents are telling you to. One thing about studying further, like even if you've entered the entry level, the undergraduate level, now it's not a must, but to study further, it really needs to be a why that is strong and that it comes from you, because that is what will sustain you. The amount of pressure, the amount of time, it's like triple the amount of work that you were doing in undergraduate in such a short period of time. It is hard. It is, maybe it's for, like, you feel like what you've been doing is not even relevant. Doing it in undergraduates is not even relevant to postgrad, if you get what I mean. So the why needs to be very strong about why do you want to study. And if you don't have that figured out, it's going to drain you. Let me go back to me, guys. So I've been going on about how this year has been a roller coaster for me, and one of those roller coaster obstacles was studying. Like I used to freaking be an A student, like all my life, all my varsity life. I was an A student. Mind you, what I do is theory and practical. So I kind of had a very good balance. I would always ace my practicals, and my theory, all I had to do was study. And I can study. I'm one of those people that can really sit down and study. And then so I'm going into postgrad thinking, but I got this. Get to postgrad, there's none of that. One, there's no practicals in postgrad. Two, in postgrad, you're making research papers, you're doing thesis. So you're doing all these things that you never did before. You're doing all these things that are, now, one of my biggest challenges was that it's during COVID, so everything had moved online. So from being used to always having a lecturer in front of me, now I had to adapt to studying something that feels completely new, and also via the medium of technology. So it's no longer contact. So when you study at home, it's fine now because, I feel like we've adapted and we are used to it. But before, like first semester, I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't concentrate in class because I'm at home, I'm at the comfort of my bed, I'm studying, but I'm also thinking about what am I going to eat, but I'm also thinking about the fact that I need to do laundry. I'm also thinking about, there's just a lot going on. I'm here, but I'm not. Whereas if I'm in a lecture class, a lecture hall, my mind is here. I have nowhere else to be. I'm not doing anything else but being here. So that is another struggle. But I also, guys, it got to a point where I started attending therapy. It's one of the reasons why I started attending therapy, and many other emotional reasons that happened. This year was just a lot. And then school on its own was also just pulling me down and draining me. Plus, I was dealing with the things that I was dealing with. So it became a lot. And my therapist said to me, you know what? It's all about adapting. Sometimes we are so hard on ourselves, not understanding that the body, the mind is a tool. If you've been doing something for so long, it becomes a routine. So once that routine is disrupted or it changes, you need to allow yourself to adapt. It's a new level. You are now in postgrad from undergrad. It's a new level. The body needs to adjust, the brain needs to adjust, everything. You may have to change the way you were doing things. If you were studying like this, it's obviously not going to work now because you're at a new level. Moving into postgrad, another challenge was that I no longer have a bursary, right? And it's a common trouble that some bursary schemes will fund you for undergraduates. If you want to study further, baby, that is on you. So basically that's what's happening with me right now. And studying is expensive. So imagine doing something that you know is not going to help you one day. Like, I always advise that people start being more open-minded. School is not the only way to succeed. I could stand on top of the roof and announce this. It's no longer of that significance, unless if you've got a plan and your plan needs you to study, then sure. And I'm not saying, some people say, no, I need to study as a plan B. I'm not trying to dictate what works and what doesn't work, but I'm just saying sometimes you don't have to push yourself through so much for something that is not going to be beneficial for you. There's no need for you to go study freaking law because your your mom, your family thinks it's the right thing to do and you qualify for it, when you know that all you want to do is open up a business or a salon business. Like, these two things have nothing to do with each other. So you need to be true to why you want to study. Even worse here, when you're going to postgrad, why do you want to study further? The why needs to be strong, guys. Studying is so expensive. So yeah, basically I'm at a point where I don't have a bursary. I'm renting everything's on me. Literally everything's on me. Renting, school, and then my marks are not popping. That means that I can't qualify for honors. So it was starting to just stress me out. But the reason why I'm studying is so that I can get to honors, so that I can achieve the things that I want to achieve. So now if I'm not getting there, why am I even studying here now? So it was a lot of that. Now let's talk about the hustle. How do you balance out the two? That on its own is another pandemic. It's another pandemic. It really takes, I'm gonna be dead honest with you guys. There's only one way to be able to do this: discipline. You need to be able to make the most out of 24 hours in a day. It requires you not to sleep. It requires you to think ahead. It requires you to plan and be organized, because school is demanding, and the higher you go, the more demanding it is, the more time you need to spend and invest in your studies in order to do great, because it generally they challenge you more. Even the assignments that you do, you freaking write 80-page assignments, they only 10 pages, so the shift is too drastic, if you get what I mean. And then on the side, you still need to be, especially in my industry where it's all about what you've done, in the showbiz industry, it's all about where you've worked, who do you know. It's less about your qualification at this point. Now I'm speaking from a perspective of being an actor. So you have to be building these connections while you're still in school, or what's going to happen is that you're going to finish studying and then you'll be jobless at home because you didn't make the most of networking time. You can't separate the two. I always say, while you're studying, you need to be getting out there, attending workshops. You need to be getting out there, putting your name out there. People in your industry need to know you. The relevant people need to know your name, because it's the only way you get to tap into some places and tap into some doors. Because unfortunately, your qualification, baby, does nothing for you. The only reason why I think we study art school, we study drama, we study performing is to become a better performer when self, not so that you can be employable, not because you need the paper in order to be answered. I don't know if that makes sense. Yes, it's beneficial to study. I'm not disputing, I'm not saying it's a waste of time, but I'm also saying it's also a very self-investment more than a job opportunity investment, because a large part of it still is about who you know. As unfortunate as that is, as unfair as that is, but there's people like us who go to school, spend years and money that we don't have, and study only to be unemployed and sit at home. It's unfair, but the reality is, it is what it is. It really is just about who you know. And yeah, so you have to network, you have to hustle, you need to balance out the two. It's worse when you are now in post-grad, and once you graduate, even there's a shift in even your family. They start now to expect you to listen. You've studied. There's some sort of income that needs to be happening now. What's happening? So they start measuring you and giving you years. We are one about no man, fine. I need to get up and work, because for a person like me, I can't be staying at home. That means I need to make a plan on how the rent is going to be paid, the food is going to be paid, school fees, every single thing. So it is so essential to be hustling on the side, and what it takes for you to be able to do both is discipline. It takes hard work. You're not going to sleep at nights. It's just some things that you need to sacrifice. Going back to social life, another thing about a postgrad, it demands you to not let go but limit your social life. You can't, it's almost impossible to be going out as much as you used to being a city girl as much as you used to, because it just doesn't balance. You almost just don't have the time for that anymore, because you're always so worried, you always have deadlines, and you're working on the side. It's possible, and also it is essential because it grows you. It is essential because it gets you to a point where you start being able to hustle on your own, and you start very young. You start having your own things very young. You start enjoying ownership. You start tasting what it's like to own stuff, to say, I bought that, I did that. It gives you, it grows you, it matures you, even as a young woman, even as a young man. So I do think it's an essential stage in life where it's almost a thrust hold. It's almost I need to make it, or else I'm going to be staying on the streets by the end of the month, or I'm going to be going back home, and I don't want to go back home because there's not much freedom if I'm living with my parents, or whatever reason it may be. But you really need to have the discipline. You really need to pray about it. You really need to be focused and know what you want out of each season. Another thing that helps is set goals, and your goals need to be all-rounded. Set goals. These are the marks that I want to get. This is the amount of money I want to make. This is the amount of money I want to save. So every single thing, you need to start setting goals and living life in a very purposeful way, in a very planned out way. Another thing, guys, praying about it and crying about it is definitely essential. It's what got me through this year. I think, shame, I've cried the most this year. I've prayed the most this year. I've been vulnerable the most. This year has just been a lot. But I think that's going to be a video on its own of how this year broke me, to rebuild me, to answering me. This year was amazing. But I'm not going to get into my year review, because that's not what this video is about. But yeah, guys, praying about it, just seeking for the strength from God. And I think also asking if you are at the right place at the right time will also get you through. Like, I've prayed about my studies. I've prayed about me being able to adapt. I've prayed about it. Just really immerse yourself in it, and you'll be fine. I feel like this video was all over the place. I feel like I just wanted to talk and vent. I do have a class. It's now 2:15. I have a class at 3 o'clock, so I need to start preparing for that. Yeah, but you always, like, this for me is also a hassle. My YouTube channel is slowly growing into a job, a self-employed part of my life. It's really starting to take the shape of, I take it a lot more seriously now. It's not just a hobby that I do and I'm bored. I account for it and to it. So this is the hustle. Guys, what a practical example. And then, I need to start preparing for class. So my mind is always at two different places at the same time. Mind you, this is not the only hustle. Generally, whatever hustle that you have, if you're trying to balance it out with school, it takes a discipline. It took me to wake up in the morning and plan that I wanted to do a video today, and I know exactly when I'm going to post it. I know exactly when I've scheduled to edit it. I know exactly when I've dedicated time for school, because that's what it takes. It takes you to be intentional. It takes you to know exactly what you're doing, when you're doing, how are you doing it. And And that there, right there, is discipline. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I feel like I rambled, but I totally enjoyed speaking to you guys. Don't forget to like, to comment, and subscribe, and share if you've experienced the same challenges. How have you been finding postgrad? Do you want to study until postgrad level? If you are in undergrad, is it something you're looking forward to do? Enjoy undergrad. I'm not saying that undergrad is easy, but I'm just saying undergrad is okay. Undergrad is, it's nice. Undergrad is nicer than postgrad, but I definitely do encourage that, you know, masifundeni guys, let's study further, let's hustle on the side, let's do it both, you know, as long as the why is strong. Don't waste time studying for nothing. Don't waste time studying for things that you know that are not going to help you. Be true to yourself. Understand why you want to study and how it's gonna benefit you. Love you guys so much. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.